Welcome to our ESSEC Alumni webinar, and thank you for being here with us this afternoon. My name is Ian Ong, and I'm the Alumni Relations Manager for ESSEC Asia Pacific. I'm very happy to introduce our alumni speaker, Antoine, who is the Managing Director APAC for ClaraVista. He will be speaking on the topic of being there for your customers where it matters most. Should you have any questions that you'd like to ask the speaker, please ask them via the chat group. We will try our best to answer them during the Q&A session. Without further ado, I shall now pass the mic over to Antoine.
Okay, thank you, Ian. So thanks a lot for everyone for being there. It's always a pleasure to virtually go back to ESSEC School. What I would present to you is just the how ClaraVista dealt with the current situation for our clients, because we're a consulting company for marketing and data. I will give you a few slides on what we are, who we are, what we do, and then we will just see specifically where our thoughts, our actions, considering this situation, and what actually we could do for our clients, and what we thought they could do for their customers, knowing that we're still in a period of quite a lot of uncertainty. But at one point, you need to take a step back and say, okay, this uncertainty is here to stay. So what can I do with that? And even though I don't have like enough forecast to make some projection over the next 6, 12 months or 24, 36 months, what can I do now in order to make things as smooth as possible for me, for my employee, for my brand, for my customers. So a very quick introduction about me. So my name is Antoine Jouanjean. I'm 37. I'm the manager, just as Ian said, Managing Director of ClaraVista APAC. I'm in Singapore since September 2017, so nearly 3 years now. It has gone quite fast. I've been working with ClaraVista since 2012, so it's my 9th year now there, when we were only a little bit less than 12 people, and you would see that now we are 60 people around the world, I would say. I'm an ESSEC alumnus, as you have guessed. Graduated in 2007, at the time when the Grande École program was an MBA, and I'm married to an ESSEC with 3 boys, dealing with the boys and the whole family at the moment, 24/7 with the circuit breaker measure is sometimes a challenge, but we learn from each other, I would say. So what is ClaraVista? So very briefly, before we jump into the topic of today, we are a we help you create a data-driven edge for your marketing and CRM performance. So we help the CMOs, the VP of marketing to spot growth and loyalty opportunities. I think loyalty and retention is getting around today in Asia, especially in China, where it was only dedicated to acquisition so far, and we are trying to see a kind of shift today towards more retention. So try to focus on your marketing and CRM strategy. Try to personalize more your action as a brand, how you can be more close to your customers and have more personalized communications, and better measure and monitor your performance, so that as a marketing team, as a CRM team, you are not seen anymore as a cost center, but as a profit center, because you are able to measure your actions and show your CFO how much additional sales you have generated over the next year. So it's become less a question of how much will you cost next year. It's more question of how much do you want me, how much sales do you want me to do in the next year. And we try to help into that. What we do, so as you can see at the center, it's quite a lot about using data as much as we can, and data science and the big word artificial intelligence in order to improve on these marketing actions, whether it is from the strategical point of view, as I said on the left, or from the operational point of view. So on the strategy, you can have data that can help you to have a better look at things, trying to identify, as I was saying, growth opportunities, helps you on your positioning, on your promotion and pricing, your omni-channel strategy. If you're talking about pure data in the middle, so it's all about segmentation, modeling the purchase path of your customers, have a lot of predictive modeling as well, and more concretely on the CRM and the customer experience, it's really to try to define loyalty programs, activation plans. How do you excel in retail? How do you personalize more, as I was saying? We are present, so it's a Paris-based company. We move and we open an office in Singapore, so 3 years ago when I arrived. And we are also present in Shanghai and New York. And now we are 60 people. So it's a good mix between business consultant and data scientist. And we think that we get a richer answer, a deeper answer when we mix the perspective between those different skills and different profiles. And that's why our customers are happy to work with us over the years, on, and continue to work with us. How we do it? So as I was saying, a unique set of combined skills. So with consultant and data scientists, we have a strong retail and luxury expertise, even though we are not dedicated to those sectors. End-to-end support. We don't only do beautiful slides. We also get our hands dirty, I would say, and help our customers concretely implement what we have recommended. And we are focused on the long-term relationship and agility, because we consider that we are here to help on the long run, and we want to be seen as a genuine partner for the clients we work for. And we can adapt, because sometimes at the beginning you want a strong, impactful project with a lot of people on it in order to move on and kickstart a new project, a new era, a new roadmap. And then of course you need potentially less workforce, and therefore we can adapt to that as well. So very briefly, as you can see, on luxury, beauty, and retail, this is the kind of people we work for. We also have, especially in the retail, in the luxury, sectors, some people that we can't put there, but they are our clients. I mean, most of the big four of the European luxury groups, we work for them. Beauty quite a lot, retail as well. We also have other people in the financial services, B2B as well, bank, as I was saying, telecommunications. Anyway, so that's just a quick introduction about ClaraVista. So beyond that, so as you can see what we've done so far, so professional services related to marketing and data. So getting the data out, analyzing it for the customer, for our clients, helping them to understand better their customers, spotting how they could leverage the data in order to have more meaningful, more personalized actions, marketing actions, and also building like predictive modeling as well. So how does it change compared to today? So maybe it's an overused image, I would say. Keep calm and carry on. So keep calm, it's business as usual, when it's not the case anymore for a few weeks or a few months now. So is it really business as usual? There's one certainty, I would say, on the current situation. is that our client stores are all closed and there are no sales at all for them since you know, the different circuit breaker, lockdown policy that have been introduced in all around the world. But of course, it brings a lot of uncertainty so far. So uncertainty in length, how long will it last? For weeks, for months, even though the lockdown might be shifted, there will still be something that is not as usual. And so it's difficult to estimate how long it will last. There's a weight uncertainty. So what will be the rules, mandatory or optional, to implement in my office, in my stores? How much will it hamper my business? And yeah, will it scare people to come to the stores? How should I work on this? So yeah, that's the current, and the mood, of course, even after the end of lockdown, how customer and employee will react. I see that if I take the example of France, it looks like, from my understanding, people are more scared than here in Singapore to go back in the outside world. I would say go back in the public transport, go back in the malls. They're really afraid of that, and it will probably have a strong impact on the store traffic, the footprint, the footfall of the stores, and it's definitely something that the brands have to consider. So it's definitely no more business as usual, and there's also an uncertainty on exactly, is it going to go back to normal? A lot of people are saying, you know, it's a new world, the afterworld, and so on. Honestly, nobody knows. But still, you're living with that situation, with a huge set of questions and vast uncertainty that is rising. But still, you need to do something. You need to act and to find your way in this uncertainty. So of course, your objective that have been defined at the beginning of the lockdown. This is so what we have done since the very beginning, and trying to acknowledge the situation and see where do we as ClaraVista stand and how we can help our clients. So first, of course, was to show sympathy and care about the situation, because as I was saying, we were now talking to people who were closing the doors of their stores, but they were, of course, imagining that they will close for good the stores that they used to work for or to work on. So of course, it's of course very, very difficult at the very beginning for them to leave this situation. And you know, as a long-term partner, it was key for us to show sympathy and care, and acknowledge how hard the situation was for our clients. Second phase after that, we also wanted to show that we were committed, ready to support our clients as well. So yeah, beyond this little gimmick of never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, it was just to show that we were there, we had the chance, we could still work in this situation, thanks to the fact of this digitalized work that we do. Data can be moving out from our desks. We didn't need to go to the office in order to be efficient. So we wanted to show as well that we were able to meet the deadlines and the commitments that were defined at the beginning or before the lockdown period. And so showing that they could still count on us during that period. And also another point which was quite important as well was to show that we were financially strong, even though we were highly impacted. So we saw quite fast that some of our clients said that they will stop working with us until further notice. So it has a high impact for us as well. We also wanted to reassure them that we will not disappear over the next days or the next weeks, because we had not anticipate that situation, but we had the means to survive in this highly difficult situation. And the last point that was to show that still, even though it was complicated, even though it was probably not at the beginning the moment to think about what next, what I'm going to do, and stand up again and look at what you could do in the future. Still, we wanted to show that we were here to help them and support them to think ahead and innovate. So that is to say, okay, situation is very complicated, but still you have to move on. So you probably are a little blurred about this whole thing, but let's figure out together what does it mean for you, for your brand, for your customers in the next couple of months. What should you do in order to restart, reboot your business? So evaluate the current situation and identify what could be the roadmaps for the next weeks or months to come, related to the different topics that we could identify. Of course, we had different response to that, and on our side as well, we tried to make a list of our clients and trying to identify those who were at risk, because we were working for some clients that you have seen that were already before that in a difficult period, and so we knew that those will probably not survive to this situation. So what we do for them, again, show that we can meet our engagement, our commitment, and we will do that, but still making sure that they will pay us for the job we keep on doing. And of course, identify those where we could show that actually it was business as usual, and make sure with them that it was business as usual. That is to say, the engagements that were made from both parties were still in place, even during this very complicated situation. So very quickly after that, we decided with the management team to start a RELAUNCH Pack. So trying to identify again, how could we set up and bootstrap the thinking for our customer, our clients, the people that we were talking to on a almost day-to-day basis, and how to help them think ahead and move forward. So we've started what we call this RELAUNCH Pack, where we show actually, so what was the situation, updated on a weekly basis, because things were evolving quite a lot. So this is just a quick illustration of the different slides that you have in the deck, but the whole point, I would say as a good consulting firm, was just to share some facts and figures that we gather, and trying to take the best out of everything that we currently read at the moment, and trying to combine them into a meaningful context analysis, and then trying to identify, okay, how do we structure, how do we group the different topics, the different titles and questions that you have at the moment, and trying to see, okay, this could be the recipe, or probably not the recipe, it's not the right word, but at least the kind of instructions to or making sure that we will have a look at all the different key topics for our clients, and trying to address and give some kind of first answers to those questions. So the whole point, yes, was to acknowledge that there were some sectors that were suffering. Those are suffering more than others. Of course, a big question here, and we will discuss that probably afterwards, was to say that e-commerce is online, especially for retail, I would say, is probably a good way, a good option, but it's not the only option. It's not the silver bullet, as we will see. And that even though the recovery was still uncertain, people will have different concerns, and you need to address with these concerns with key questions for an efficient recovery. So some kind of question that you can see here, like how my business model will evolve to meet new customer expectation. How should I reallocate my budget in terms of marketing? What's the omni-channel experience for real this time? I would say it's an omni-channel experience. This is a gimmick word that you see for many years now, but a lot of people have struggled to implement it because that's where I would say the devil is hiding, because once you said I want an omni-channel experience, then nothing is done. You know, that's it's only a start of the journey. So what does it really means today if you want to really implement this omni-channel experience? And you will probably have to do it for real this time, because the situation force you to do so. How should I adapt my acquisition and CRM plan within my budget? And what are the operational implications and technical prerequisites to successfully implement this transformation? What does it mean concretely in stores? What does it mean concretely for my employee, my team, having this new situation? What are the process that I need, the tools, the skills that I need to have? And so we also set up like this 4 stage of adjusting, readjust, reengage, relaunch, rebound. Because there was just a time for these different phases. Of course, trying to step by step get back into a normal pace, a normal pace of action, I would say. And so if I take a focus on a couple of points here, to illustrate that, I would say just before that, we just present that, you know, to this is the kind of discussion that you need to have with VP board level people, because at one point those are the people who can understand and listen, and this is actually their job to identify what should I do next, you know, considering this situation, what's the direction that I want to give to the company. So that's where those kind of decisions have to be made, and this is the right place to have this kind of discussion, because I would say at lower level in the hierarchy, of course, they will have to deal like in budget cuts and things like that in terms of, for example, for marketing. So I have minus 20%, 30%, minus 50% on my marketing budget. So what do I do? And they're more focused on how do I do damage control rather than how do I, you know, change myself, transform my business, transform myself in my new business there. But still, I think it's worth having this discussion at every level. And even though it's difficult, I think it's worth doing this mental exercise, I would say, to develop this and trying to say, okay, things will not be the same, probably not be the same tomorrow. So what can I do to really change here? And so again, the whole point here is trying to help our clients to get back on track and show them that we are not here to sell mission project you know, like we could used to do before. Here the whole point is to show that we help them to think ahead, And so yeah, that's the idea here. We are not here to sell anything so far. We're just helping them to think ahead and to make the first step here in their decision process. Two things I wanted to illustrate is review and adapt your marketing. So of course you'll have to review your marketing plan by customer segments. You have to adapt the story that is being told, and the thing that you have anticipated before that will probably not be able to be told during that period. I think a good explanation here. So sorry, it's in French. Sorry if there is people from Bulgaria, nothing personal here, but as you can see, as the title say, it's a must-have for you day to day, and it was sent something like in the middle of April. And looking at this, you could say, wow, that's probably not what I want to hear. My must-have for my day-to-day at the moment is, masks and gel to wash my hands and soap. Probably not Bulgaria jewelry like that. Even I'm pretty sure you can keep on talking to your customers, but let's say that the tone and the content have to be adapted, making sure that the interpretation cannot go wrong, right? Second point, you also of course have to review your KPIs and your objective. And one topic maybe that is more related to what we do is that, as you know, as mentioned, we do predictive modeling. So we build models that learn from the past behavior of our clients' customers. So that is to say what they have purchased, when they were browsing, when they were interacting on the social networks, and so on. And using this data from the past, we try to predict what will be their behavior in the future. And by predictive behavior, I mean, will they purchase this specific type of product? Are they more likely to increase their sales or decrease their sales? And so on. What are the kind of products that I should recommend? All those information, so it's as machine learning models are based on from the facts that we observe from the past, we try to define rules that helps us to predict the future purchasing behavior of our customers. And this situation where there's no sales, people don't go to stores anymore, it has an impact on those models, because actually today the models will make their prediction like, okay, this customer used to come like twice a month, right? And so knowing what I know is probably going to come twice a month in March, in April, in May. And of course, it's not really the case because everything's closed, right? So how do you adapt the current prediction that you make in order to fit better the reality if your stores are still open? If they're not, of course, you just ignore, I would say, those predictions. And the second point is, how do I take into account the current period in the coming months? Because there's nothing magical. The model will learn from the past. So it will try to learn from this peculiar period. And it could be quite deceptive because it will learn that probably during, from now on, during March to May, there are no sales. And so it's a fact that it should be taken into account. I mean, if you don't help the model, it will probably make this assumption. So for us and for our clients, it's important to show to them that we have taken that into account, and we are currently trying to find ways to improve the models and making sure that they don't go south, I would say, because of this very specific situation. So we are currently trying to make sure that, or at least evaluate the impact of the COVID situation on our predictive model, and trying to smooth this out from the future usage of the models. So that's something that we proactively do, and we also try to, of course, explain the situation to our customers, because that's also one of our value, I would say, is to be quite transparent, especially regarding predictive modeling. There is a lot, of black box issues, like it's difficult to interpret the results of a machine learning, of artificial intelligence algorithm. Our take on this is that we always have to explain what we do, even though we don't have to go deep into the code. Of course, we don't have to go deep into the algorithm and all the formulas, mathematical formulas that are at the ground of this work, but still trying to explain how does it work, what does it take into account when it's trying to predict something, the future value of a customer, and how our client's team can use it. And we, of course, we haven't invented or coined that phrase, but we always talk about but not about artificial intelligence, but more like augmented intelligence, where you have this combination of human and artificial intelligence. Because at the end of the day, the people, the employees, and the people in the marketing team will be in charge of implementing this, and will use these models only as a tool, and not, as again a magic wand that will solve all their problems. And so, yes, this is just to show that for marketing, on the marketing side, I would say you, of course, have to review all of this. Just specifically on the retail, so if you think about how you can adapt, our take here was to implement innovative tools. So considering the situation for retail, how can we trying to put ourselves in the shoes of a retailer and say, okay, tomorrow the stores is opening again. What does it mean, and what can we do for that? So of course, the first thing would say, okay, I want to leverage online, but as I was saying, it's no silver bullet. You have a supply chain issue, because today for a lot of retailers, online is 10 to 20, 25% of the sales, right? But it hasn't been built to manage 50, 80% of the sales. So if you scale that to 50 or 80%, you'll have supply chain issues, especially at the moment when the borders are difficult to cross. You have delivery timing issues as well. It's difficult to meet your commitment. One good example for Singapore is that the loyalty program of Lazada, which is Live Up, I'm not sure how to pronounce, has been cancelled because they can't meet this commitment to a next day or 2-day delivery anymore, because it's too complicated at the moment. So you all, I guess, if you're living in Singapore, you all have experienced this situation where your Red Mart order is now taking a week to be taken into account. Well, it's getting better now, but still, you see that orders have exploded, and so there's a real issue on the delivery. And it's the same for customer care. Airliners, all the online travelers sites are exploding their call volume because customers are lost. They don't know, well, now they know that all their flights are cancelled, but still, it's just exploding. And again, if you shift your sales to online, at one point people will need to talk to someone because there's an issue, because they want information or more advice, and so they will call or chat or whatever, and it's going to, if you're not ready for that, it will just make your customer care explode. And so you need to adapt to the potentially new paradigm. I put potentially in parents here because actually, we, as I was saying earlier, we don't know. We don't know, is it going to be a totally new paradigm, or is it going to be back to normal and slightly different? And you have to think again, when you're in a shop, in a retail store, what does it mean? What does it mean for the sales associate? And here, one of the I would say of the track is to think that sales associates are not here anymore only to sell. in stores, they were starting more and more over the past, of course, 20, 30 years to, to give advice. You can't only be there just to push the product to the customer and that's it. Of course, in stores, there was a lot of improvement on how to, this all the selling ceremony, how do you sell, how do you give advice, how do you help your customer to choose. But this will have our take, I would say, would be to say that this will have to be done even when the customer is not in store anymore. And so that is to say you'll have probably to call your customers more. So this is probably easier when you're in the luxury business because you have less clients spending quite a lot. It might be more difficult when you're a supermarket or even though supermarkets are doing well, are less impacted, I would say. Or for example, Sephora, of course, they can't call every lipstick purchaser to tell them what they have to tell. So you probably want to focus on some specific segments of customer, but still, you will probably have to help your sales associate to be better at engaging with the customer even when they are not in stores, because they will not come as often as they used to be. But still, you want to keep that communication, because we saw that many times the sales associate in retail is a key differentiator for customer retention. When you start to create a personal relationship with a customer, when you're SA, it really have a strong impact on the future sales of your of a given customer. So you have to define this what we call clienteling apps. So this is a service that helps your sales associate to understand what is going on and who is in front of her or him. So usually it's an app on a phone or on an iPad, a tablet, and just by identifying, the customer in front of you, you're able to know more than what you would have guessed, and so you have an information on which type of segments of customer it is. Probably you can, augment the knowledge of the sales associate with additional data and push here information on the fact that it would probably a good idea to validate the email address that is available and that has been captured previously, because we saw a lot of bounce back and it seems that it's probably a typo. So it's probably time to requalify the mean of contact of that customer, probably show a few a personalized recommendation instead of sticking to the more the incentive of the months for a given brand, and push that brand to everyone because you'll get a better incentive. We have some studies, we have done some project that shows you have a better bonus at the end of the month when you push personalized recommendation rather than the best sellers on the most incentivized product. So that's for the sales associate, how do you train them to potentially engage more with the customers when they are not in stores. There will be a role for the CCC as we talk for online. So the customer care service, customer care center. How do you increase their role in advice and sales as well? So how do they become more and more sales associate, actually giving more advice, trying to help to sell better and probably more, because at one point people will, if they're shopping online, they will probably, maybe there's a shift to take for the people to call more easily the customer care in order to get advice. I'm on that page, I just wanted to know, is it available in this color? Do you confirm that you have leather? I don't know. And then probably the customer care associate could probably help the customer and maybe close the sale here. So that's something that's potentially an option here for the clients we are talking about. And then the role of stores, as I was saying, people going to come less often? How's they going to deal with this the situation? Going to deal with, for example, the policy of the number of customers in store will be limited. And how do you manage the waiting line and the entrance? So how do you transform that experience? And so beyond, again, getting back to the title here, so beyond all, having those questions that needs some answers at one point, and where we help find solutions on the paper, we'll also try to identify for our clients existing like startup solutions. And so I will just show you one right afterwards, just as a final illustration of the situation, is that we have developed internally a few years ago an app, a service, in order for people not to queue anymore, so that they don't have to wait physically in the queue in order to get served. The idea here was that we heard a couple of times from clients this need, and we thought it was a good idea to implement this. And now it has become a company on its own, and it's called Liberty. And this is really something that really emerged even more considering the situation. So the whole point was to say, okay, you'll have to manage a waiting line, because all, at the moment in France, people are queuing for 30 minutes outside the supermarket because they are not allowed to go in because there's too many people. Probably it might be the same in Singapore as well when the circuit breaker open up, even though you have this safe entry app at the moment that will just, for contact tracing purpose, making sure that and knowing who's went where. But still, you probably don't want to wait half an hour with other people, even though there is this physical distancing. Maybe you have better to do, right, rather than to wait to go in the mall or in the store. And that's the whole point here. And we thought, even though, okay, you could say it's biased because it's our cousin or sister company, but still, there is a real need that we have seen here. Sorry, so it's in French here, but you can guess the idea. So the whole point here, and we really consider that it was bringing value to our clients, is to say, okay, you have this very easy to set up service. You just put a QR code at the entrance. You have someone who will manage the virtual queue by allowing people to go in, calling people when it's their turn, and that's it. And you just have to register, you take your ticket, you go for a walk doing something else. You can delay or cancel your ticket, but when the queue is, when it's your turn, you're being called, and then you only have to wait for a couple of minutes instead of waiting for half an hour or sometimes 1 hour. So here to us, it's just to bring like a service, additional service that meets the current situation and really helps the brand, the employees, and the customer at the end of the day to leave this situation better. So that's it for the talk, I would say. Maybe move on to the question, but as a conclusion, I would say that yes, as a consulting company, as a professional services company, the whole point is today, again, help your customers, help your clients, sorry, to bootstrap again, to start thinking again what they can do, even though things are complicated, even though things will be uncertain for quite a long time. How do you help them and support them in that to think ahead and make the problem solving? Thank you.
Thank you, Antoine. What I'll do is that I'll start off the Q&A session with a question that I have. You talked actually earlier about the predictive modeling. I just wanted to actually just find out, your company actually, when doing predictive modeling, use the SARS period as a reference actually when doing the predictive modeling.
Sorry, I'm doing a SaaS.
Yes. Did your company use the SARS period? The SARS that happened in the early 2000s as actually
Um,
one that was actually used for reference.
yeah, that's true. That's one of the options that we have seen, even though the scale was much lower. And so, but still, at the beginning, we use this modeling to guess how things will go back to normal in a way. But now, considering the size of it's quite different by its I would say width or impact, and therefore we're trying to see how we can adapt and making sure that it doesn't take too much into account the situation and still make relevant prediction, because you also it's difficult because you have to take that you don't want it to take too much importance and guessing that nobody will purchase anymore. I would say if you're trying to predict who will purchase, because for 3 months nobody has purchased, and so you don't want to make the prediction that nobody will purchase anymore. And on the other side, you also want to take into consideration the fact that probably people will purchase less, or maybe they'll purchase more, as the famous revenge shopping. And so it's an ongoing tweaking, I would say, at the moment, and we are trying to adapt week by week.
On a related question, in your modeling, are you predicting different recovery models in different countries? What is driving the differences?
Um, we are less into forecasting actually than into a specific customer predictive modeling. So that is to say, what we will do, we have done a little bit of forecasting. So it's definitely something we are looking at and trying to, just as you mentioned, trying to leverage what we've learned from SARS period and so on. So on this, we don't, on the forecast models that we have, we are not as widespread to define the different projection that we can make and forecasts we can make by countries. Most of our models are customer based, so it's at customer level. How much is she or he going to spend over the next 12 months? What is the kind of product category that she is going to purchase? What product should we recommend at this given moment, because we know what she has purchased over the past, and maybe she has purchased something 2 weeks ago. So even though it's a high probability to purchase, we probably want to push something else, all that kind of thing. So it's probably less on the forecast, general forecast, but more focusing on trying to predict what customers generally will do.
The next question I have is, will it be harder to move the luxury goods business to online only compared to everyday goods? Is the touch and feel aspect in this segment still a key buying decision maker?
That's the whole question. I think the luxury business, so far they considered, some of them considered that didn't need it, right? Because as I was saying, it's only, I would say, 10 to 20%. So it's worth something, of course, but it's not that big, and it's over the past decades. Sorry, it hasn't keep on increasing, right? It plateaued, depending on the sectors, at 10, 20, probably 25% for premium, I would say, in the premium sectors. But at one point, that's the sorry, I'm not clear. I'm just thinking aloud. First thing, one interesting news was that I think it's Patek Philippe, so it's something like $100,000 watches. for the first price, I would say, they decided to go online. And I guess that's 3 months ago or 6 months ago. It was totally not in their plan to sell their watches online, but still, you know, all their stores worldwide, I would say, are closed. And so if you want to buy that kind of a brand, it's quite difficult. So they decided to go online, which is quite a bold move, I would say, for watch companies. So it's sending a kind of signal. So even this very high premium brand is going online, maybe other brands in the watches and jewelry sector, or in the luxury sector in general, might consider this as well. But as you were saying, you're buying the experience as well. You know, people being nice, the cup of champagne, spending time trying the different size, the different colors. You're leaving the luxury experience in stores. So this is something that it's difficult to replicate online, but that's the whole question that we've pushed actually. So how do you try to keep that connection between the sales associates, which is usually, especially in luxury sector, for top clients, the sales associate is usually even it can go as close as a friend for the top customers. So how do you keep the connection and make sure that you can interact with those customers? And probably the whole selling ceremony will happen more, I would say, outside the store, and in store it will be limited to the to just picking up the product, or you can even have it delivered, because you're in a luxury business, and it's part of the experience. So I'm not sure online will it's definitely something worth considering, but still at one point you'll need this physical experience. So yeah, we're trying to identify whether it is like more appointments, so people will make appointments, so we make sure that there's enough room for the customer to come to the store, or at home, fitting room, for example. You bring your what you have to sell in your top client's house, and do this session, I would say fashion session, at home, all that kind of thing. I mean, everything open today, so you have to figure out what's the best option and test it.
Well, the last question that we have is, you talked earlier about the relaunch pack. Can you tell what kind of reactions you actually got from your clients when you received the relaunch pack? And do they actually now have the willingness and capacity to engage with you now?
It's still in discussion. I think it's people were interested in having, getting fed with a couple of key figures and facts, understanding what was going on for beyond the sector, like the overall situation. And then it's, just starting after the presentation, usually it's starting to, create this mindset where you say, okay, I know I have to change, I know I have to do something. And to start thinking about all those questions that I keep on having, but for the moment is just fear, because I don't know how to answer. But now today I have to start to give an answer, and it probably won't be the right answer, but it's I would say an educated guess for today, knowing what I know and starting to elaborate this. And so what we're seeing is that people are starting to consider on specific topics, like, okay, this is starting to see what could be the first steps in order to move on a given topic. And so far, we just keep on discussing. And again, it's not a question of selling, whether it's hard or soft selling. It's just helping helping the clients to keep the ball rolling, I would say, and trying to identify and helping them to build this recovery plan in a way on their own. And of course, when they are ready, I think when they will be ready, when there will be a little bit less uncertainty on the business, when shops will start to reopen and they will have the first figures of how is it going? Is it going like the recovery? Is it going to be painful and slow, or is it going to be quite fast? Actually, I think this is the moment when they will consider to see what they want to engage and how big and fast they want to engage, and how much do they need our support at one point in order to implement this.
With that, I'd like to actually thank Antoine for taking the time out to speak on this topic of being customer-centric. This concludes the end of our webinar. Thank you very much to our participants as well, and please stay safe. I wish you all a great day ahead.
Stay safe. Thank you, Ian. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.